Hello everyone, welcome to Java tutorial lesson 3. Today I will be talking about Java data and variable types. Last week I showed you how to print out in Java, how to create a new class, which is also how to create a new program. But today we're going to be looking at data and variable types. We'll be talking about the first three data types, and I'll be talking about variable declaration and initialization, how to declare variable and how to initialize variable. Then I will show you the rules for variable names, then variable naming conventions. Then we're going to be looking at assignments for this lesson. Now, the first thing we're going to do is to create a new file. Now, to create a file, you click here. Then before you name your class or your program, you check the location. Then if you are not seeing the folder that we created in lesson 1, please click this little button to locate the folder. You select the folder, click OK, and you name your file. But if you don't see this, or you are seeing this, click on Java classes, empty Java file, click next, then it will take you here. Then select that folder. Then name your program. Now I will name this program lesson 3. Then click on finish. Now this is where we're going to be creating our program. So first of all, I will talk about data and variables in Java. What are data? Data are something that we use to interact. We are using to interact with our program. For example, in lesson 2, I show you how to print all this. Now, this particular statement in quotes is called data. Also, this is called data. This is called data. Is called data. Then we have different type of data. Now, variables. Variables are location on your computer that we normally use to store data. We're going to talk about first three types. First three data and variable types. When we're talking about data types, it corresponds to variable types. Now I will use comments to explain this so that our compiler will not be able to see what we are writing. Now, the first three data types are what? First one is string types. String, capital letter S. String are used to store something in quotes. For example, this statement in quotes, including the quotes, is called string data. Now, before you can store string data, you have to declare string variable to store it. So, string variable is used to store string data. This is an example of string data. The second variable I'll be talking about is integer variable. Integer variable, but we normally use int, short form of integer, to represent integer. Integer variables are used to store whole number, either negative or positive, like 23 minus 45, including 0, are used to store whole number. The last type of variable or data that I'll be talking today is double variable or double data. Small letter double, small letter int. Double are used to store double precision value. What I mean by double precision value are decimal numbers, like floating point number, like 2.3, either positive or negative, minus 4.2, and so on. So double variables are used to store double data. Now I will now show you an example of how to store data in different types of variables. Now the best way to start is to create your class. Now creating your header class by writing, as we've done in lesson 2, public class. So you name your class the same name with your program name. Now public class lesson 3. As you can see, capital letter L, capital letter L, lesson 3. You open the curly bracket. Now you write what? The main method. This is how to write the main method. Now for you to write the main method, I will show you a shortcut in Java Creator. So just type main. Once you see main method, press enter key to have your main method written for you. Then you enter inside your main method so that we'll be able to try all these variable data and variable types. Now to store string data in string variable, you first write string starting with capital letter S. String starts with capital letter S, string. Then you put a particular name. Later in the lesson, I will show you the rules for the name, variable name, the rule for naming a variable. But for now, start with small letter. Let's write ds. String ds is equals to I love programming. Now this is a string data, something in quotes is what we call string data. String data is stored in string what variable. This is a variable name ds. Now let's print out something. I show you in the last lesson. If you want to print, write system.out.println, just type out and wait till it show you this. Click on it, then you have this. Then let's print out, instead of putting all this inside this parentheses, just write ds. Then don't forget your semicolon. Also here, don't forget your semicolon. It's an executable variable, executable statement. We are storing this in this. So let's run our program to see the printout. As you can see, I love programming. Here we're storing this data in this variable ds, string variable. That's how to store string data in string variable. So we'll print it out here. As another example, just write string. You can put any name. I'll show you how to name the variable later. Welcome to my world. Don't forget the semicolon. So this is also a string data stored in what? String variable. Let's print it out. Well, let's see what we have. No error. As you can see, welcome to my world. Because we have two print statements here, we're having two outputs. I love programming and welcome to my world, as you can see. So well is pointing to this, while ds is pointing to this. I think you understand. So this is how we store something in string variable, and this is how we write string variable, and this is how we store something in it. Now the second type of variable is what we call integer variable, and follow this to declare and store integer variable. Write int, small letter int. Now you can write any name. Let me put age is equals to 27. Now I'm storing whole number 27 in integer variable called what? Age. Now let's print what we have in age. So let me print it out. As you can see, 27. We cannot store string data in an integer variable. Likewise, we cannot store integer data in string variable. Another example, put int line is equals to minus 34, whole number, something that is not in quotes. Now note the difference between minus 34 and this minus 34. This is integer data, while this is string data. You can only store this in string variable, whereby you only see this got printed, while this is an integer data. So let's print out our line variable. As you can see, we have minus 34. Minus 34. Now this is called variable name of integer type. Line is a variable name while minus 34 is integer data. Now the third type of variable that we'll be looking at today is double variable. To use double variable, type double, double, small letter. Now put any name, fr is equals to. Now I told you it store decimal numbers or floating point number, either positive or negative. 22.4 anyhow. Now let's print out fr. Now we're printing the what is inside the variable name here. So we don't have error. Then we have 22.4. As you can see, fr represents 22.4. Another example, let's say double g is equals to 9.81. Either negative or positive. You can even put negative. I'm going to print it out. Now let's print it out. G. As you can see, minus 9.81. Also, you can use double variable to store scientific notation. For example, 1.23 times 10 raised to the power minus 16. But instead of putting times 10 raised to the power minus 16, you don't have any way to write that. You put e. You write minus 16. It represents, don't forget your semicolon. It represents 1.23. Let's say times 10 raised to the power minus 16. Now let's print out our. Can print it out with d. No error. Then 1.23 exponential minus 16. Can use either small letter or capital letter for the exponential. As you can see, 1.23 exponential minus 16. So in that way, that's how we store in double variable. As you can see. Now let me show you something. Now I'm going to talk about declaration and initialization. When I write something like this, I'm doing two things at a time. I'm declaring this variable name line to be of what type integer, and I'm storing 24 in it on the same line. Now this single line can be done in two ways, like this. Write int line. Now we put a semicolon. I'm telling the compiler that create a variable name called line of type integer. That is, you must only store integer data. Now in the other line, I can write line is equals to 24 semicolon. So here I'm declaring and here I'm initializing. So this single equal to shows that we are assigning this 24 to this line. This single equal to is called an assignment operator. It assigns this to this line. So if you now print out your line, you're going to have this printed 24, as you can see. So instead of writing it, you can write it on a single line, you can write it on two lines. Declaration and initialization. Later in your program, you can change line since you declare it here. So you don't need to declare it again. If you try to declare it again, compiler will issue error. So you can change it to 12. Line is equals to 12. You can put a spacing between equal to and 12, or you can leave it anyhow, but it's okay to leave the space so that your program you'll be able to read your program clearly. Now let's print out what we have on our line. As you can see, we have 12. Line now points towards 12 anyway. 9 points to 12. Also, if you try to redeclare line, it will give you an error because we've already declared, as you can see, variable line is already defined in method main. So you cannot declare a particular variable twice in a single method. This is method main method. So we already declare line here, we cannot declare it again. You can only change the value in line at any time. So that's about declaration and initialization. You can do the same thing to string variable, double variable, and so on. Now let me talk about rules in naming a variable. Before you name a variable, you have to follow some certain rule. You have to start with letters, alphabet. Variable name can only be start with what? Alphabet. Alphabet. Don't start variable with figure. This is wrong. 1AD is wrong. But you can start with alphabet, then you can put your figure. A123 is equals to welcome. Don't start your variable name with figure. Always start with alphabet or an underscore. You can also have this. It's also possible to have this. Start either with small letter. Sorry, start with either with letters or an underscore. You can use capital letter or small letter or underscore. Also, the only punctuation mark that is allowed in a variable name is an underscore. It's correct to have that, but it's wrong to have this. It's wrong because of semicolon. The only punctuation mark that is allowed inside the variable name is an underscore. An underscore. Don't put semicolon, don't put full stop, don't put any space, and so on. It's wrong to put a space within a variable name. It's wrong to do that. Also, the third rule is that don't use any Java keyword as your variable name. E.g., cannot have class. This is a keyword. If you are using JCreator, all the keywords will be shown in light blue. All the keywords will be shown in light blue. At the end of this lesson, I'm going to show you all the keywords that we have in Java. You cannot use keyword or reserved keyword. I'm going to show you also the reserved keyword. You cannot use reserved word or keyword as a variable name. So double class is wrong. We have this. We have this. If you run it, you're going to have error. As you can see, show you an error. What is statement? You cannot use class as variable name or any other, like static. Static also is a keyword. Public also is a keyword. We have so many keywords. So that's about our naming, variable naming rules. So 1, don't start with figure, always start with letter. 2, the only punctuation mark that is allowed inside the variable name is an underscore. Then 3, don't use keywords or reserved word as a variable names. That's about rules for naming a variable. Apart from these 3, you can name your variable anyhow you like, but follow what you meant. For example, if you meant to declare age, write age, so that you'll be able to read your program. Don't say, although it's correct, but don't try to write. You are meaning, maybe you want to measure a distance, you are writing d. So stop that. Try to write what you meant. This okay, this is okay, 3, and so on. So this is how to declare a variable and to store data in a variable. You can do it on a single line. You can do it on 2 lines. Now variable naming convention. Actually, this conversion is not compulsory. You can write it on your, so far you follow the rules. So far you follow the rules, you are okay. But it's better to follow the convention so that you'll be able to, your program will be of good you have good readability. Now, what I mean by convention is that always start your variable name with what? Small letter. Always start your variable name with small letter. Always start your variable name with small letter. Now, let's assume that you have multiple words as your variable name. Try to join them like this. Now, start the first word with what? Small letter, then subsequent word with what? Capital letter. As you can see, my name out. Or you can do it like this. My name out. This is also acceptable. Actually, you can write it any other way. So far, you follow the three rules, but it's better to do it in these two ways. If you have multiple words, do it like this, or you can do it like this using semicolon. These two are most acceptable way. You can do it any other way. But we have a single word, start with small letter. Start with small letter. Then the other thing is that once you use, for example, I've declared ag as double here. I cannot change, I cannot use to store any integer variable. If I say age is equals to 45, age is equals to 45. Actually, there will be no error because if I try to print out age, you see it as 45.0, but you cannot use integer variable to store double variable. This is double data. Sorry, you cannot use integer variable to store double data. So if I try to run it, I'm going to have error. Required integer found double. So it requires integer to store, but you can use variable to double variable to store what? Integer data. So you have it as what? 45.0. You have it as 45.0. So in this lesson, I've shown you how to declare a variable and to initialize a variable with data. I've shown you the variable naming convention, and I've shown you the rules to follow in naming your variables. So this will be the end of lesson 3. Now, these are Java keywords that you cannot use as a variable name. Abstract, assert, boolean, break, byte, case, catch, char, class, continue, default, do, double, s, enum, and so on. You can try to master this. We're going to be using this later in our tutorial. These are Java keywords. Also, these are keywords that are not used in Java, but you must not use them as what? Variable name. Constant, go to. Also, Java also contains some reserved words like true and false. True and false are reserved words which represent Boolean literals. Then none. So these three, true, false, none, cannot be used as words variables. Some textbooks or some tutorial reverse variable as identifiers. They are the same, either variable or identifiers. So reserved word or keywords cannot be used as an identifier. So our assignment, the first one will be, what are the 3 types of variable you learned in this lesson and what are they used to store? What type of variable would you use to store your name? What type of variable would you use to store the square root of 2? What type of variable would you use to store your age? Now, write a single line of code that will create a double precision variable called p. That means you have to write a line of code that will declare p as what? As double, and you store this value in it. I've shown you how to store scientific notation in Java. Now write a single line of code that will create an integer variable called I and store 407 in it. Now here, write a single line of code that will create a string variable called this. You declare it and you store your name in it. Write a line of code that will declare variable counts to be of type int. Don't initialize. Don't initialize. Just declare count to be of type int. Here, write a line of code that initializes the double precision variable bank balance. This is a variable name, bank balance, to this. Assume this variable has already been declared, so you don't need to declare this. It has already been declared. Just initialize this to this. Now, which of the following are legal variable names? So if you follow the rule we mentioned, you'll be able to point out the ones that are legal. Now, which of the following is the most acceptable way of naming a variable? Multiple answers are possible. Now, just all these variable names are correct, but the most acceptable way, you have to select them. Now, comment on the legality of the following two lines of code. Double dist is equals to 1003, int alt is equals to 1493.86. Comment on the legality of these two lines of codes. So this will be the end of lesson 3 of the tutorial. If you like this tutorial, please give a like and subscribe to our channel for more lessons. If you have any comment, question, or you need help in your code, please drop your comment below or contact us on the email shown below. Thanks for watching.